Hi, and welcome to my last video in this series that has been looking at the 8th letter of the Hebrew alphabet and how we can see Jesus Christ in his purposes. This last video is probably one of my favorites. I think for me, as I was looking at everything, this picture popped in my head, and I'll show you here in a minute, that has to do with how all of this is related. But just to remember that so the 8th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is made whenever we put the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet together with the 7th, and it makes the 8th. And one of the things that they see here in the way in which it's made is, if you can see here, so you have Jesus and you have man, or many men, like a corporate man. But here they see this connection as a yoke. And that immediately brought me to Matthew 11, 28 through 30, when Jesus talks about this yoke, and he says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." And how he gives us rest is the fact that he says, "Be yoked to me. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. Learn how I do everything. For I am gentle, I am humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." You can quit trying to do this. For my yoke is easy. So this right here, this being yoked to him is easy, and his burden is light because he's carrying the burden and it's his yoke. And what does that mean? What does it mean to be yoked to, for Jesus to be yoked to us, or us to him? And really what that means is that yoked means that we are working together so that we can, we're yoked together so that we can move and work together to accomplish something. So we can't get ahead of each other. We move with each other to accomplish the purposes, or the eternal purpose of God. And what I want to show you is how it wrapped everything up with everything that I showed you with this drawing. And what I want to point out here is that this right here is the cursive form of the 8th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, okay? And so if we talk about the idea of being yoked, we see here that the groom is yoked to the bride. And how we solve this is the community life of God. This is the flow of light and life. They have been, the groom is yoked to the bride so that she may move and work and learn together how to participate in that flow. So the bride is yoked to her groom, and the groom yoked to her bride, so that they may work and move together in this area. And out of that, we also see that the head, who is Jesus Christ, is yoked to the body so that they can move and work together. The head to receive light, and the body expresses the life. It gives the expression to the person and life of Jesus Christ. We also see here that the teacher, we talked about this in a few videos ago, the teacher is yoked to the disciple so that they may move and work together, learning to live by the indwelling life of Christ. We also see, which I really didn't mention but I want to bring out too a little bit, is the idea that the invisible, who is Christ, is yoked to the visible, who is the church. And what this means is that when we talked about the portal, or the gateway, and the ladder that allowed us to have access to the riches of Christ's life. So the riches of Christ's life are in the invisibles, okay? But we are yoked with him in the visible, so we're the visible yoked together so we can move and work together to make him visible together, all of who he is. And then down here is Christ, who is yoked to the church for the purpose of building. He's the one that has the sword, is the kingdom increasing, but also is the one new man. And so Christ and the church are moving and working together to bring about the fullness, the completion of the eternal purpose. So you can see here that for me, the 8th letter of the Hebrew alphabet revealed a ton of information, but it also confirmed a lot of things too. It was just a new way to discover in this scavenger hunt of finding Christ in all things, that we can see that what it means to be yoked to Christ and that we are working and moving together to accomplish His purpose. So when we allow ourselves, what's really fun is that when we allow ourselves to be yoked to Him, we actually find rest for our souls. Our souls can stop trying to accomplish this purpose that we think we need to do for Him. We can stop trying to do that. We can do it with Him, moving together, working together. And He says that His yoke is easy and His burden is light. And so our soul will no longer need to work in the way it did before. Now it can just learn to cooperate with the life of Christ within by yielding to this life, this life that we've been yoked to, so we can learn to live by His life. I hope you've enjoyed this series, and I sure have. I've enjoyed the process of trying to make these videos, and I chose to make videos as opposed to podcasts because there were pictures I needed to show, and sometimes the visual part helps in seeing what I'm talking about as opposed to just listening to it. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for watching. Bye.